Well, Dan, I mean, I'm thrilled that you're here after so many years. We're in the trophy room. A lot of dead things in this room.
A lot of things you kill.
Correct. And I'm looking forward to being with your group in 10 days. And maybe I'll add a head or two from some of
the high-ticket closer.
yeah, from your high-ticket bitches. Yeah, and choke them. But seriously, I am looking forward to it. And for you to come back after all these years and see such a dramatic difference. In the seminar, we were teasingly saying, when you were here, there was 4, 5, 6 of you. I gave you the information. I pounded for a week or so, and then I kicked you in the butt and kicked you out the door.
Yes.
No mentor program, no nothing. You just
no thumb drive, nothing.
No
support, nothing.
Nothing. You just made it on your own. And a lot of the guys did make it on their own. And so, of course, now, other than hold their hand when they're taking a pee, I mean, they have all this stuff that's the processes, systems, procedures, and templates after templates, and 2,000 slides, and documents after documents. It's quite remarkable. It's 10 years later, but it's starting my 27th year. It's quite remarkable. And the fact you saw on the webinars, the second to the last guy, that was one of my current success stories, is a Canadian. Even though I tease the Canadians, he's making it happen. Yes. And when you guys go back, and you're one of 24, when you guys go back to Canada, there's no competition in creating, generational wealth. And you've already been a super success, and now you've come back to put some fine edges on your model and to grow it based on your previous success and based on your previous and current and future brand. I mean, you're going to knock them dead. You're going to knock them dead.
Create another quantum leap.
Correct.
Day one, you said that it's going to be a transformation week. And absolutely has been because I'm so familiar with the Q&A materials. I immerse myself, watch the video, listen to audios hundreds of times. But the Castle seminar, it's actually very different from when I came here 10 years ago. And I'm shocked by how young the mentees are. Like 20-something, 17 years old doing deals. And from men, women, from all walks of life, different background, right? And did you tease the different backgrounds, right?
Correct.
Different language. Like if this kid could do it, like what's your fucking excuse, right?
Correct. And I try to shame when we saw the 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds doing this. I'm trying to shame the older generation. Yeah. But my demographics have changed. When you were here, it was 35 to 50-ish. Yes. And now it's 15 to 35.
Yes.
And we have a preponderance of young kids. And you were actually the average age of the group. The oldest was 55, the youngest was 18 in this group, and the average is 37. And it's quite remarkable. But we had a lot of Canadians in this group, and we had 5 women, which is not normal. We don't normally have 5, we normally have 1, 2, maximum 3. Yes. But the opportunities, as I've said, interest rates are at the lowest rate in 5,000 years, and they're literally throwing money out the door. Your group happens to be here just at the ideal time because 75% of all commercial bank loans are made the last 90 days of the calendar year. And why is it easier to do deals at the end of the year? Because the banks want to pay bonuses to their bank employees. It's that simple.
For my audience, my fans who are not familiar with QLA, because sometimes they would see maybe videos on my channel, on the internet or interview, and they think, I don't know, because sometimes, they're not smart enough to understand, it's just about, self-esteem. Yes, that's part of it. Doing it, that's part of it. But can you walk us through exactly what's the business model like? Because you mentioned it's a commercial debt-based model.
Yeah, it's a commercial debt-based model that I copied off of Andrew Carnegie that he did 100 years ago.
Yes.
And the old man, coincidentally, was just down from down the road in Scotland. He didn't like equity investors because it would reduce his ownership. So he did everything humanly possible just to borrow money from commercial banks. And what it is we're buying businesses from motivated sellers.
Yes.
Motivated sellers, normally mom and pop, from $1 to $3 to $5 million in revenue, total revenue, where it's totally financed from a bank. And if the bank debt cannot be covered by the existing free cash flow, then we integrate commercial debt like Royal Bank of Canada, Bank of America, whatever. And we're buying these, and the kids are creating generational wealth that would normally take 20, 25 years to create in 3 to 7 years. 3 years if they do everything right, 7 years if they, fuck up some things. And currently, my poster child is a now 21-year-old, but he was 17-year-old, Josh Kim, a Korean kid, who has gotten to be a multimillionaire, flying around in his own jet plane now. When he came to me, as a 17-year-old, he had a 15-speed bicycle.
That's the only asset he had.
The only asset he had. That was his collateral for the loans.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we're buying in various areas. Healthcare, telco are the two hottest areas, and telco has morphed into cybersecurity, internet, etc. Exactly. But healthcare is hot. But I mean, there's all kinds of industries that are hot. Slightly sarcastically, mortuaries, crematoriums, funeral homes are all hot.
Assisted living.
Assisted living is the hottest, and we call bedpans the lowest level of assisted living. There's from country club assisted living where they have golf courses, tennis courts, basketball courts, all the way down to bedpans where there's 4 old people in a room, and the doctor comes once or twice a week. Assisted living, especially for healthcare, my generation doesn't want to die, and they'll spend whatever money, and their families are spending whatever money to keep them alive. 2 big success stories of my mentees. One, Rick Scott, the current senator of the great state of Florida, where I was born. He started Columbia Healthcare, which grew to be the largest healthcare company in the world back in the late 80s, early 90s. And here in Britain, we were the founders of the idea of Four Seasons Healthcare, which was the largest healthcare roll-up of assisted living in Europe. And again, another one of my mentees was at the forefront of that. And those are deals of the hundreds of millions and billions. But there's much smaller deals that have been done in the millions. And the kids, with no money of their own, that's the key, no money of their own, fairly quickly build up net worths of several $1 million. You heard a Canadian kid today on the webinar from Toronto, I believe. It's been on from the seminar 37 days. He attended the seminar in July, is knocking it out of the park. He should complete his first acquisition in the next few weeks. And he just attended. He's 34 years old, father of soon to be 5. And he saw me through you. A lot of the kids see me through you. In fact, in the group that was here, several of the kids are here because of you, speak favorably of me, and they want to know, well, Dan's mentoring me through high-ticket closing. Who mentored him? And so then they come, and then we talk about my relationship with you. We showed some pictures of you 2003, which is hard to believe that was you. But I know it was you because...
Spiky hair, glasses, pimple face.
I know it was you because I saw you. And I still remember asking you when you approached me 13 times. And on the 13th request, one of my secretaries said yes.
Which I have to say, understand, like I was a kid. I got nothing to offer, right? And Dan was gracious enough that, you know what, let's have breakfast. And it wasn't like, because I clearly remember, because I'm very grateful, it's not I'll spend 5 minutes with you, like, what do you want? We spent a good, 2 hours together at breakfast. And Dan's time is very valuable, right? Very busy. Didn't know this kid from Adam, I got nothing to offer. But it's just, to me, it was a turning point of my life, because it's almost like having in life someone who is believing you. Right? Sometimes it's very difficult, because we don't even believe in ourselves.
Correct.
But someone say, hey, you know what, this kid, you got some potential. You got some lot of work to do, but you've got some potential. I think that's valuable to me.
Well, and I was fortunate. Now I'm considered a good pick of talent.
Yes.
And I'm a good pick of raw talent.
Yes.
But I saw that. First of all, you made the commitment to fly down. And I didn't even think about the cost of the airline ticket. Didn't even dawn on me, but that was not a small speed bump for you. But you got down there, and we had breakfast for a little over a couple hours. And you did much of what I suggested, and we kept in contact over the years. And then ultimately, a few years later, you attended the Castle Seminar. You know, you've been one of the prides of my mentorship and my association by being extremely successful. Your brand is a big fucking deal, you know, if I don't say so myself. And through people like you, I've indirectly touched millions.
100%.
Oh yeah, because you've touched...
I teach them to smell the leather, act if there's no limited abilities, right? you're picking up the phone, right? Consistency. It's just through closing.
Correct.
But it's the same spirit.
Correct.
It's almost like a QLA, more basic kindergarten version of the idea.
And the fact that you not attempted, but you brought to fruition being all you can be.
Yes.
And that's the basis of QLA. And you hear it in your voice, you hear it in your programs. I watch your videos. The kids don't believe in themselves enough to think that they could aspire to doing some of the things that you've done, and then you've done it. What they don't realize is that you were them.
Yes.
Okay, that's hard for them to grasp because now
That they see where you are today.
Correct.
They couldn't imagine what you're like.
Yeah.
But I love what you said in the seminar, that how fucked up we are by our parents. And you were challenging us, like, whatever you believe in, how's the program working for you so far? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, my dad was believed in tough love.
Yes.
He transcended tough love. You know, I used to get whacked a lot.
Yeah.
I deserved all the beatings I got. I'm not complaining about that. But in today's environment, it would be considered child abuse because he used to beat me a lot.
Yes.
But the kids that have lived bubble wrap lives, the kids that have had really no weak, soft, loving parents. If love got the job done, we wouldn't be having wars. If love got the job done, and religion and love got the job done, there wouldn't be these strifes and these battles around the world. But my father used to ask his brother and sister, when they said Manny, which is my father's first name, aren't you being too rough on Danny? He would come back to his sister and say, well, how's your crack whore daughter doing? How's your program with her working out? And how's your jail-ridden son, to his brother about his son, how's your program working out? And even though my dad was very harsh on me, his program worked out. Here I am, and I've been here a long time. And the one time he visited for a few days, and we walked into the drawing room, which you've been in,
Yes.
and I got my arm around his shoulder, and he looks up at me and he says, just tell me it's not drugs. Because the only thing that he could relate to that made that much money that quickly had to be drug related.
It has to be legal, right?
Yeah. And I said, no, Dad, it's kind of like drugs, it's oil and gas. It's kind of addictive, but you're not.
But it's legal.
It's legal. And so he was happy as hell. But I mean, your programs, for the kids that are watching this film, how's your program worked out? How's your self-help or personal development worked out for you? Probably not too well. The only thing that probably has worked out for you is your training through Dan here in the high-ticket closing. I mean, that's why the kids resonate so much, because you give them an opportunity to make, when they shoot for six figures, and six figures and more.
Yes.
That's a big number
Yes.
to most people.
Yes.
Most of their parents didn't make six figures.
No.
And when we're at the Black Tie event in a week or 10 days, I'm looking forward to it. I've looked at a video from last year,
yes.
how they're all going crazy, and how you're throwing money at them, and you're going to give them a car and all that. So I'm looking forward to that and help lift their self-esteem. And I'm
Kick the ass a bit.
Yeah, choke them. I'm gonna ask, who are the bitches? With all the bitches, come forward, and and give them their money's worth, and give them a good choke. But I mean, I started in sales. You and I relate because I started in sales.
How does sales help in QLA? It seems to me the ones who have, you don't have to have a sales background, but the one who are natural salesmen or saleswomen, they tend to implement.
Oh,
QLA
absolutely.
faster.
Because they understand rejection.
Yes.
They understand cold calling.
Numbers game.
Okay, numbers game. They understand that. And unless you've been through some kind of sales process, you don't understand that. You don't understand that. And the first time somebody hangs the phone up on you or says no to you, you take it personally. And it's not what happens to us in life, it's how we interpret what happens to us in life. And salespeople know that you've got to get through a lot of rejections, a lot of no's. Now, the better you are as a salesperson, the better the closer you are, you get less no's.
The ratio is better.
Correct, the ratio works.
Conversion, yeah.
But you're still going to get no's. I even get no's, and I consider myself a world-class salesman. I mean, I get no's, I get rejections, but they're much fewer than when I started my career, decades ago. And getting back to the sales vis-a-vis the QLA, the more you can handle the rejection, the more you can handle the no's, to get to the yeses, the higher the probability you're going to be all you can be sooner than later. And that's why the salespeople, the guys and the gals, do much better in the beginning, especially because they're used to making those sales calls. If you've never made a sales call,
You get nervous. You don't know what to
Anxiety,
say,
yeah.
Because to do KOA, you need a lot of certainty.
Yep.
We're talking, and it's to me, it's not different. Not that much different selling a product.
Correct.
We're selling the financial institutions, and I think the most difficult thing is because when we're selling a product, we could say, hey, this is the product. This is good or bad or whatever features. But KOA, we're selling ourselves.
Correct.
Like we put ourselves on the line. When we are approaching a board member, they say yes or no. They're not saying yes or no to a product, saying yes to a no to us.
Correct.
I think that's the most difficult thing for me.
correct. And we have two bank accounts in life. We have an emotional bank account. We have a financial bank account. Most people are taught by their parents wrongly that you should be more concerned about your financial bank account. That's not the one. It's your emotional bank account. How well do you take when things don't go your way? How well do you take when your back's against the wall and you got to perform? And the bigger your emotional bank account, ultimately the financial bank account will follow. You'll create generational wealth for yourself. We've been at it 26 years. We've created $775 billion.
And your goal is to hit the trillion. That's your legacy.
The trillion. Although I'm wearing my $50 billion man suit, but I'm fast approaching the $1 trillion, and I'm here to stay until I reach $1 trillion. And as I said during the seminar, I've got 3 or 4 guys and gals that are working on $20, $30 billion deals that I'm obviously keeping my fingers crossed for them. January 18th in London at the Sofitel Hotel. It's the first seminar I will have given outside this castle in 20 years, this century, to try to keep up with demand because our seminars are all sold out this year. And right now I'm holding back my gunpowder. I'm seeing if, when Mr. Trump gets reelected. If asked, I will serve. I've got 2 movies, 3 documentaries, and 2 books that I'm studying whether I'm going to go forward, and that's all a lot of work. Okay.
Yes, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So
I consider us very lucky to be able to
Thank
come
you.
here, right?
Thank you, and it's great to have you and your wife and Desmond here. Take a lot of time out of your schedule, and I'm looking forward to you guys when you come back for the hardcore.
Yes.
I
can't wait.
Yeah, well, even though I didn't choke Desmond this trip, the night's not over, so I'm not making any promises.
I'll get you a couple of drinks.
Yeah, a couple of drinks, and then I'll choke him. But I'm sure some of the bitches in your sales force will not mind me choking him. The program has strict parameters, high benchmarks, because what gets measured gets accomplished.
Yes.
And we keep tight measurement on the kids as they go through the mentor program once the seminar ends today. When you go back to your homes all over the world. We've got a great group, and it's my job, my task, my endeavor to keep you headed towards the goal line for these next months while you're in the mentor program. And of course, our relationship, supersedes that because we've known each other a long time. I get excited when I see these things accomplished. And I just had my 74th birthday in Nepal. I'm still fit, I'm still healthy, and I plan on doing this as long as I'm healthy and until I reach $1 trillion, okay? And I'm sure that my health will hold up. It's been a lot of fun. This room is remnants of previous life when I used to be a professional hunter, which I'm not anymore. I haven't killed any animals in almost 30 years. It's very significant that was a benchmark in my life. Now $1 trillion is a benchmark in my life. Seeing you so damn successful is another benchmark in my life. And to the extent that I can assist you in moving forward as we discussed this week, you can count on me. And the first step will be for me to attend your seminar. Sally, my Yorkshire wife, would say, have some fun.
Some fun.
Jumping down off the stage and choking some of those little shits.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.